So last week we looked at which used MacBooks to avoid ever buying. Here's some MacBooks that are really good deals right now though, which are worth picking up in 2023. Number 1. The Retina MacBook Pro 2012. Both the 13 and 15 inch models have a host of very modern features for a very low price at the moment. Right now it's fair to say that Intel MacBooks have about a 5-year maximum lifespan left running modern macOS. If you are buying Intel, you'll not want to spend a shed load of money. I think the 2012 Retinas are a fairly good year to aim for if you don't need something super powerful. The screens on these are very high quality. 2880 by 1800 was used on the 2012 15-inch Retina screen, which not only competes with modern laptops, but was used by Apple until 2019 when they increased to 16-inch displays. Retina-era MacBooks are far from the most upgradable, I know, but I don't think upgradability is something to strive for if your laptop's only going to last a few years until you have to buy Apple Silicon. I hate to shy away from repairable tech, obviously, but it's what Apple's forced upon MacBook users at this point. 2012 Retina Pros have replaceable SSDs, batteries, and displays at the very minimum, so you can do those things yourself where necessary. The processors are showing signs of age at this point, but if you get a 15-inch you'll have a more than capable quad-core Intel i7, along with up to an NVIDIA GT650M, which is a surprisingly able dedicated graphics chip. Number 2. The 2020 M1 MacBook Air. Anyone who knows anything about consumer computers gets that this laptop changed the game, so I won't spend ages talking about it. The M1 Air is the most powerful, coolest running, and most portable laptop you'll be able to buy under $600 or £500. If your budget can stretch that far, absolutely aim to get one. If you can find one with 16GB of RAM, that'll future-proof you in a way. If you're comfortable using an external SSD, it's probably best you get one of those too, as anything more than a 256GB M1 Air will massively increase how much you pay for it. M1 in 2020 was the first of Apple's line of laptop processors, and as you can see, it absolutely blew away the previous year's Intel lineup in benchmarks. The 2019 MacBook Pro 13-inch sat above 1,300, whereas the 2020 MacBook Air cleared 2,300. Number 3. The MacBook Pro 2015 15-inch. If you're after a powerful MacBook but can't afford to splash out on Apple Silicon just yet, the 2015 15-inch Pro gives you a great processor and graphics performance at a reasonable price. In 2016, Apple decided to switch to only USB-C ports in their MacBooks. This means that the 2015 was the last to have USB-A, HDMI, Thunderbolt 2, and mini display ports all on one laptop. These are nice things to have, as is the ability to upgrade your SSD and find cheaper replacement parts online. The 2015 15-inch Pro is a nice thin MacBook which makes carrying it with you easy wherever you want to go. Call me old-fashioned, but I love a bit of old silver aluminium, as well as that glowing Apple logo on the back. Quad-core i7s boosting up to 4GHz mean that the 2015 still packs a punch in the CPU department. As long as you get a 2.5 or 2.8 GHz model, you'll get the dedicated AMD graphics chip too, which is not only suitable for GPU-intensive rendering workloads, but some light gaming at high frame rates as well. Number 4. Alright, hear me out on this. The most powerful Intel MacBook ever released. The MacBook Pro 2019 16-inch. Firstly, it's never been available at a better price. You're looking at close to £500 or $600 these days for a computer that started at $2,400, until early 2021 that is. So if you can find an i9 model with a low enough price, you're looking at an 8-core Intel processor that clocks up to 5GHz, dedicated graphics up to the AMD Radeon 5600M, and RAM that can go as high as 64GB in capacity. I've seen some ridiculous deals on these things looking at eBay auctions in the past. If you do a search for 16-inch 2019 MacBook and filter by auction, ending soonest, you're bound to find a deal after a couple of weeks checking back again. Intel may be far behind M1 already, but no Apple Silicon Macs can run Windows and Linux distributions like this one can. Also, multi-core performance, thanks to the i9 you can get the 2019 with, is not far off M1 in benchmarks, as you can see. And what about that design? It's an almost bezel-less 16-inch display, with some of the most brilliant colour reproduction out there. The keyboard? Perfect. The trackpad? Perfect. In fact, so big you'd think it were a drawing tablet. Space Grey really doesn't get much better. I suppose the only thing you'd want would be more ports and a better fan system that's not so loud compared to M1 Macs. Number 5. Alright, this is the option for those who just can't be spending much on a laptop. Probably the cheapest Mac on this list, the MacBook Pro 2012 Unibody 15-inch. This MacBook is among the most popular of all time. It was well received in 2012, being incredibly powerful for its time, and has gone on to live a lifespan of well over a decade. It's just not snappy anymore. A 4-core Intel i7 can get you through some office work as well as some photo editing and that sort of thing just fine. But tasks like video editing, any 3D rendering work, as well as playing most games, are not going to happen here. It is only a 3rd generation i7. Graphics on the 2.6 and 2.7 GHz variant of the 2012 15-inch are far from bad. We talked about the beastly for its time Nvidia GT 650M earlier, as the Retina model from 2012 shared more or less the same specs. The main problem with this laptop, to be frank, is its size. The thick aluminium body frame is a lot heavier to carry than about anything Retina onwards. This does give you some brilliant upgradability though, as most parts, from the RAM to the display, can be swapped out with more powerful ones with relative ease. I did a video on all the upgrades possible to make to this machine, which might be worth a look if you've got the time. Anyway, the 2012 Unibody 15-inch Pro is a cheap MacBook at the moment. You won't want to pay anything more than $200 or pounds for this one. Make sure you do run it with an SSD though, for way faster boot times and better performance all round. If yours does come with a spinning hard drive, just put a 128GB SSD in there and it'll do you wonders. The 2012 Unibody 15-inch is actually my daily driver laptop, so obviously it works for some people. Alright, here are some honourable mentions. Picking up any of these won't be a bad idea either. The 2021 MacBook Pro series are actually starting to come down a little bit in price now it's been a couple of years. Getting a 14 or 16-inch machine is a way of really stepping into the modern MacBook era. These machines have ridiculously good displays, and while their M1 Pro or Max processors are a bit more powerful than the regular M1 seen in the MacBook Pro and Air from 2020, the graphics are where the 2021 models really start to pull significantly ahead. I'd aim to pay just over £1,000 UK for these, as it's hard to find anything lower at the moment. That's around $1,250 US. A lot of money, but arguably a machine that'll last for up to the next decade. Also, the 2014 MacBook Pro series packs a punch, with a similar processor setup to that of the 2015. You're getting the exact same external design too. The main differences are an older Nvidia graphics chip and no Force Touch trackpad that we've come to love so much. I'd recommend getting a 15-inch 2014 model, as these are far more powerful than the 13s in all aspects. £200 or just over $300 US is an ideal price for these, but aim lower if you can, obviously. Okay, that's the end of the list for today, but I did have a couple more things to say, because I just hit 1,000 subscribers. I was genuinely really excited to hit that milestone on the last day of November. All I can really say is thank you to those who subscribe and watch my videos. It does mean a lot to be able to earn actual money, however small the amount starts off as, from YouTube. When I first uploaded regularly a few months ago, some of you left some comments that just made my day, man. A big thanks especially to Mr. Cooper83, MacGamer1973, Raphael, Sam Ransfield, David Fernangle, among others. As far as this channel goes, there's just more of the same content to be expected, really, which is MacBook stuff, looking at other older Apple products, some audio stuff, and occasionally just trying out a new video idea relating to all those things. I always welcome video suggestions, by the way, if you have an idea you'd like to see me do. Also, if you do have any questions about the channel in general, I'm happy to answer them in a video, or just reply to your comment if you leave one below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week.